And we are live. Yes, we are alive. Aloha, divine beings. Welcome to Dream Circle, where hearts and souls unite in a shared mission to manifest a harmonious new earth. Here we play with various spiritual practices to harness our collective energy of participants from around the globe. Together, may we master our divine magic. Aloha, my name is Angela. I will be your host today. Thank you for joining me here now. And welcome back, soul family. We're here together again. I am delighted to be here with you. And if you are new here, it's an honor to have you join us. Now, remember, the awakening is messy and can feel isolating and scary. We are not meant to do this alone. We are here to connect, reflect, and rise together. So please feel free to share this content with your friends and family. And if you feel resonance with this experience today, please like and subscribe. Your presence and support mean everything. Every like, every share, and every comment amplifies the signal. Yes, across many dimensions and timelines, we are always united in the quantum now. All right. Now, I want to remind everyone there is no space-time in the quantum field. So the energy we create together here and now can be felt instantaneously and reach any distance. So if you are catching the replay, be sure to make your intention to tune in to the collective energies. Be here. No matter where or when you are, we are always united in the quantum now. All right, soul family, feel free to type into the chat box. The chat is working this time. Last time it was all alone over here with no comments. I made a mistake, but we should be able to comment now. And I would love to hear where you're tuning in from and any intentions you have for today. All right, so a little bit about our flow today. We have a beautiful crystalline water activation prayer. And then I am so delighted to have a special guest, an Akashic Records researcher and Galactic channel. And then we'll follow that with a global light grid activation. But first, I want to talk a little bit about today. Today is the 369 portal. You see, it's June, which is 6. Today's the third day, and 2025 breaks down into a 9. And Nikola Tesla said, if you only knew the magnificence of the 369, you would have the key to the universe. And it's not just a sequence of numbers. It's been seen as a universal code to unlock energetic blueprints, reflected everywhere, right? Mathematical resonance found in the vortex of fractals, torus fields. Think nature like spider webs, conch shells, snowflakes, and the architecture of the sacred sites like the Pyramid of Giza, Stonehenge, and Gadung Padang. Now, in astrology, we also have a grand mutable cross activation right now. And it's activating both luminaries. So the sun is in Gemini, that's the 3rd. The moon is directly opposition in Sagittarius, which is 9. And then it's actually making a cross of the nodes of fate. So the south node is what we want to let go of. It's our past, that's 6. And where our north node is Pisces, which is our destiny point. So it is a reflection of the flow of creation, birth, balance, and return. Maybe you've heard of the Fibonacci sequence, nature's divine blueprint. So to take that idea a little bit further, 3 is connected with creation, the divine spark, the trinity of mind, body, and spirit. The 6 represents harmony and expansion, the blueprint of form, sacred geometry, like the honeycomb or crystals, yeah? And the 9 is a completion and mastery number, the energy of wholeness, unity, and the returning to source. So let us embody the 369 consciousness, becoming souls who quietly tend to the flame of awakening. This month, the mind will be quite active and you could feel overwhelming. So it's really important to stay grounded. And I invite you to create a new spiritual practice in your routine. So that being said, throughout your day, pause and breathe 3 times a day. You can even set reminders on your cell phone and be easy for me to say. Be careful in choosing a notification sound of something that sounds soothing, like a bell or a chime. And don't have any shame in having to help yourself and set these reminders. So 3 times during your day, enter into silent radiance. In the stillness, you consciously connect to the source of all light within. Your heart opens and you become a bridge between heaven and earth. When practiced with awakening awareness, this quiet act of service holds power to elevate and uplift humanity's entire timeline. So your focus in the now moments send ripples through the cosmic waves, illuminating our glorious planet. Yeah? All right. Aloha, everyone. I see Maui and Oahu. We've got representing so far. Again, feel free to engage with whatever you're feeling, make an intention. And now we are going to get into a crystalline water activation. I want to invite you to view my new beautiful water. It's this glorious globe, and I have the tensor technology here, which actually helps structure the water. Again, so if you are interested in the angelic armor, there is a link in the bio with a 10% off code. You can use this to work with your own energy, to amplify your field, and also help structure the water. So if you haven't grabbed a water container vessel, go ahead and get one now. I've got my beautiful container here, and we are going to get into this water activation. I love the waters. And water is not something we drink simply. It's a sacred intelligence, a cosmic conductor, a living mirror. And it's time we become intentional stewards of the waters, both within and around us. The water we consume, the words we whisper into it, the energy we imprint, all of it matters. Water responds, it remembers. The ancient pyramids weren't just monuments, they were energy temples built atop water systems, crystalline networks, and mineral grids. Water was the force that carried the current, the breath that animated the stone. Just like those sacred sites, your body is a temple. Your spinal column is a living obelisk wrapped in streams of cosmic plasma. And it is water, structure, loved, and luminous that awakens it. When you bless your water with intention, you don't just hydrate, you activate, sending encoded frequencies through your emotional body, helping your nervous system regulate, restore, and return to divine harmony. Because the truth is, you are water dreaming itself awake, and it's time to ripple that remembrance through every cell. The waters of earth are sacred life, blood of Gaia, carriers of memory, healing, and harmonic intelligence. They flow through ley lines, shaping landscapes and whispering songs of the stars into our cells. As the guardians of these waters, our consciousness and intentional matter deeply. When we honor and pray for the waters, we restore not only the planet, but the sacred tides within ourselves. All right, so does everyone have a vessel? a glass, a bowl, a hydro flask. We're going to be pairing the element and purifying it with sounds with our water prayer, turning your voice into a living wand that clears, charges, and codes the water with your soul's frequency. Water is crystalline in consciousness, and so are you. So let's create the field, yeah? Now, you know I love my chi balls, so let's start by rubbing our hands together. Now, this itself is a simple grounding practice. Again, you hear the sounds that's making. Bringing your focus to the palms of your hands, connecting with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. On your next inhale, go ahead and open up your hands and feel your divine life force. And go ahead and place your hands around your water. Doesn't matter what you do with your hands, you can be intuitively guided to hold the container, yeah? Now ground your feet, feeling yourself as a conduit between stars and the springs. Now using our voices to purify the energy. Now the TSSS connects earth with electric. It's tss, so a sound. Notice that this grounds scattered energy. It shocks energy back into alignment. So making this sound, focus on the soles of your feet and the root chakra. And feel your body grounding in. Now the next sound is air plus ether. Shh. It soothes your central nervous system and clears the mental clutter. Focus this intention on the third eye to hush overactivity. And this sound, shh, also helps you release anger. Yes. Now the next sound is a ch-hoo, ch-hoo. It's water plus wind. Ch-hoo, ch-hoo. Making that sound, it's ooh, it feels exhilarating, yeah? Now this sound blows out stagnant energy, clears your auric field to purify your space and your body. Ch-hoo. Beautiful. Next, we call in the wind and our ancestors to summon soul presence, connecting to our guides with like WHOOO. It clears psychic fog and deserves worry and fear. Beautiful. Another one is the fire element, thinking of a snake. You can even shimmy your shoulders with this one. It helps vibrate to release that density from your body, releasing emotional charge, activating the Kundalini energy. Focusing on your spine for detox and rising energy. I like this one. Now our final sound is, this is air plus spirit. The hot breath opens your heart, expands your breath, and releases grief. Focusing on your heart now. Yes. Now just take a moment to see how you feel. Noticing the beautiful grounding effects and the clearing of all the static psychic power. Yeah, let's take one more breath together and let's do a yum, yummy, yummy, for how beautiful we feel to be embodied. This is your beautiful body. Honor it with vibration, breath. Now, continuing to breathe deeply as I speak the invocation. Now feel free to repeat after me, creating an echo into source. You can place your hands over the water. Beloved waters of earth, we honor you. Thank you for your purity, your power, your memory. May all beings remember your sacredness. As we heal you, you heal us. Calling in beloved star families, councils of light, angels, ancestors, guardians of Gaia, and the radiance present of your highest self. I call upon you now. With love in my heart and clarity in my soul, I offer this water to the light of transmutation. Shh. May all impurities, pollutants, poisons, distortions be neutralized, harmonized, and alchemized. Through the unified field of divine remembrance and this sacred prayer, I activate the crystalline codes within this water. Let it return to its original holy structure, a vessel of living light, a carrier of life force, a mirror of soul consciousness, infused now with the frequency of unconditional love, sovereignty, and galactic grace. May this water hold the song of the stars, the purity of my essence, and the truth of oneness. With each sip, I take in the codes of remembering. May they awaken my cells, align my spine, and regulate the sacred waters within. Through the divine template of the cosmos and the infinite womb of Gaia, I bless this water as a sacred elixir of healing, harmony, and homecoming. And so it is. I have returned to my divine original blueprint. I invite you all now to look into your water. I invite you with a smile and gratitude. Your face, your breath, your joy become part of the imprint. Whisper, I love you. Thank you. I remember. And join with me now as we all take a sip of this beautiful water together. It's so beautiful. And now I invite you to anoint a drop of water for each chakra, the crown. This drop dissolves separation. I am open to the light of divine truth. This drop allows me to see through the eyes of Source. I trust myself fully. This drop clears my throat, clears my voice. I speak my truth with conviction. This drop softens and expands my heart. I am unconditional love. Now to the solar plexus, this drop ignites my will. I shine without apology. I feel confident in my authentic power and truth. The next is the sacral womb. This drop awakens my creative power. I am a temple of pleasure and feeling. I am creation. And finally, the root, the feet. This drop grounds me in trust. I am safe, embodied, and devoted to my earth path. With that being said, let's all take another drop and sip together. Beautiful. Feel the rushing of the coolness the sacred waters, returning you to your divine original blueprint. All right, so now, how do you feel, everybody? You ready? I've got an amazing special guest. I'd like to welcome Erin Lynn, is a lifelong intuitive and Arcturian starseed, a scientific researcher with a degree in psychology and neuroscience from Columbia University. Erin shared it wasn't until she was introduced to the Akashic Records that her entire life came into focus, and the answers she'd been searching for decades became clear, truly finding her power, her passion, and her purpose. Erin is driven to uncover the truth around big questions as to why we are here, what makes us who we are. Using her scientific training and her natural psychic abilities, she's discovered to date almost 100 unknown galactic civilizations. That's quadrupling the current known in the collective consciousness. And Erin has spent years astral traveling to these realms, communicating with these beings to learn who they are, their worlds, their life, and how these souls are expressed when in Earth human bodies, starseeds. Many of these beings have mentored her and shared primordial information about the spiritual realm and the process of reincarnation and how our planet has been evolving. Erin works with clients from all over the world to help them understand who they truly are, why they're here, their starseed group, and their purpose in their lifetime. She specializes in unique and complicated records that other readers have not been successful in accessing. So, without further ado, I would love to welcome Erin Lynn.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Aloha. Yes, we can
Aloha.
hear
Hi.
you. Hi, welcome. I'm so delighted to have you with us today.
Oh, it's my
And
pleasure.
I'm just excited.
Me
So
too.
just for a moment, those of you watching, feel free to ask any questions you would like to hear some answers to, and I will be happy to share these questions with our beautiful guest here. So, how are you?
I'm great. It's a little late here, so that's
Yeah,
great.
I really
I would only
appreciate
do
it.
this for you, Angela.
I really truly appreciate your time and your energy. And I know with the different time zones and points on the planet, it's exciting. So thank you again.
Oh, my pleasure.
So it's interesting how I came across Erin. If we can start there, I guess I'd love to share a little bit about that experience. Um, I had been sitting in meditation, focusing on the Cassiopea constellation. And during my meditation there, I was met with this really kind of wild experience and adventure. And it was almost like instant manifestation. Like the beings just could think of whatever it is they wanted and just transform their energy into whatever this was. And when I came out of it, I was like, where did I just go? What is this? And I did a deep dive on researching, trying to validate my experience. Like, where was I? And that's when I found you. And
Oh, wow.
so, would you like to start with just a simple question? What are the Akashic Records?
Well, it is the iCloud of all our souls and all our, basically it's like everything that's ever happened. So everything with a consciousness has a record, right? And has everything that's done in its past and will be doing in its future. So we all have our own individual soul record, which we're constantly sending information to, and that's in the Akashic Records. Animals have them, plants have them, crystals have them, and locations have them as well. So it's this massive library that I'm able to access, and I have many guides that go and get the books for me and the records for me in my reading room, because I don't know where they are, but they give them to me, and then they help me. I ask questions, and we go through it, and we get answers.
Awesome. So how did you start working with the records? And was that like a spontaneous thing? They found you, or were you kind of curious?
Well, I was pushed to get my own Akashic record read, and I did, and it was a good experience. And the reader did a nice job, but for whatever reason, I just thought, and I don't know why I thought this, like I can do better than I can do a better job. I can go deeper in this, and I'm a psychology person, so like I love to go deep dives with people, and I'm very research oriented, so it's like right up my alley. And so so I had that done and I enjoyed it. And then I started getting basically information being sent down to me from the Akashic records. And I was like, wait a minute, how do I know that about people without really even asking? And then sometimes I'd see in my mind's eye a record hanging above my head. Oh, you got to read that. You got to do that. And so I started to go to the Akashic records. And when I did, they were like, here's your room, here's your stuff. And I was like, okay. And I started to try to read records poorly, really bad, because I had no structure and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of blindly finding my way. So I did, hook up with a mentor of some sort to kind of help me. Because also a lot of the information I got, and I'd ask a question, like I'd ask about a past life, and like all their past lives would come to me all at once, and I couldn't discern,
wow.
and it was like too much.
Yeah.
And so I needed to figure out a way to just get little bits of information that I can process at a given time.
Wow.
So that's how that started. And then the new
quite
beings started
overwhelming
coming
then.
right
It's
after
like,
that.
ah.
Yeah, it was intense, and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. So I had to figure out a better way to do it, and I did.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, and I was honored to have my own records read by Erin, and it was one of those moments where you literally told me things that I have never told another human ever, because I'm fairly out there or in there, depending on the perspective. And everything you told me just boom, 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 connected the dots. It was what I've always known, but you actually validated and put like your own like essence into it. It was the most profound, beautiful experience I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
And
Thank you.
I was delighted to make sense of my origin point, that when you shared that with me, was quite invigorating. Would you like to share a little bit about how you started in that, and the origin point that kind of captured you? Because I remember you saying they just kind of grabbed you.
Oh, your origins?
Yes.
Okay. So most of the time when I meet these new beings, and I'm a researcher by heart, like that's what I am. So I probably would have a hard time just channeling this information and believing it. Like I need to test it. So actually doing this work is excellent, because I'm getting new information. I'm actually able to test this in real time on clients such as yourself. And sometimes I see this stuff and I was like, how am I going to tell this person this? And how am I going to make sense of all this? But so most of the time when I meet a new group, it's through a client Akashic record reading. They come to me and they are from a place that's unknown. Sometimes I meet them other ways, but this is the most main way I do it. So anyways, for you, I went to the Akashic records to research your record. I'd never met you. You just booked your reading. And that's, I said, okay, I'm going to start doing my work. And when I went up, I was like, okay, I read your record. You were from a place I didn't know. I said, okay, I'm going to go back later and research your new place. And what I like to do is I like to go to the records, look at the planetary record, Akashic record first, and then visit later. Because I just like to be able to just know what I'm walking into, so to speak. I don't know who these beings are. I just like to kind of know what questions to ask and stuff like that. So I try to get some baseline information before I visit them. So I went to the Akashic records with the intention to meet your group. And your group took me instead to their location. And I was a little taken aback because that wasn't my intention to go there at this time. And they were benevolent, but they're very pushy. And I was being pushed around, and I just saw these funnel clouds. They're like ghostly, non-physical funnel clouds, about 6 feet tall, about my size. all around me, and I felt, you know how magnets are, like repels, different poles will stick together with that, with magnets. So I kind of felt like I was stuck with between that, and I was like moving around, and they were just spinning, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I have no idea what this is. And they were like trying to suck me into some vortex thing. I said, no, I'm not ready to go there yet. I don't know you people yet. And anyway, so it turns out, and I guess they're the Sleehans, Sleehan, and their location is called Sleeha, and they are in one of the constellations that we do not know of. So I've so far found 3 new constellations that are not on our star maps. I'm sure there's more. That's just 3 that I've met so far, and different beings. So, and when I see it, it almost looks like it's in the center of a torsion field, this constellation. It's like I see this plane, and then kind of this, it goes down this like vortex, and it's kind of in there, this mini constellation. And I asked what that constellation was called, and they spelled it out for me. It's UILI constellation. I was like, okay, how do I pronounce that? It's Uwili. And then I looked up what that was, and that's like a Samoan or Polynesian word for wheel. Oh. And it's interesting because the Slihas basically are the convergence of all the magnetic poles in the universe. So when you see them, they're in a spiral pattern. And above them is the edge of the universe in this pattern, and it's also in a counterclockwise wheel pattern. So it's like these 2 convergences of these 2 poles are spinning, and they're spinning underneath it, as above, so below. Ooh. And so I think it's very interesting that that's also called the wheel, essentially the wheel constellation. So I know one other group from there too, but that's what they do, and they're in a spiral pattern. And it's not a planet like we would think. Okay, a planet, a location. It's just like a place underneath this convergence of the poles for the entire universe, and they are responsible for protecting it and keeping it in equilibrium, all the poles. So it's a big job if you think about it.
Wow. Well, and when you shared that with me, I just started to cry, because I love to spin. And, a lot of my clients, my audience, my friend, they know I'm a spinner by heart. And I always would find safety in the spiral, in the spin. Mm-hmm. And when you just linked that up and like validated that experience, my mind was just blown. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been doing my whole life. And it's really, really highly magnetic in there. And I can transmute energies. And it's just such a beautiful experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they do. They spin usually counterclockwise.
It's my favorite way.
And then, but sometimes if they need to change the equilibrium for whatever reason, some will spin clockwise, like to opposite. And it's like there's no leadership on that planet, and they are all like interconnected in some way. So it's like they just know intrinsically, okay, so some of you all have to like spin the other way, and then some have to do, spin the other way just to keep it equilibrium. Because I'd asked them what happened if they stopped doing their job. They said it would be chaos in the universe, because all the magnetic poles would just kind of not be there anymore. And so there'd be implosions, and there'd be mass chaos in the universe. So they have a pretty big responsibility.
Wow. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Well, I've always been called to the mission. I'm very mission driven, very ascension driven. So it just really makes sense and helps me really, connect a lot of the puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
So thank you again. That was wild.
Yeah, I'm glad it resonated with you, because it's like, I'm going to tell her that I just see funnel clouds.
You don't know how much it resonated deeply. Well, I guess that being said, how does that connect with the blueprint originators? Because that's something you know a fairly good amount about, yeah?
Yes. So with the Akashic Records, or with starseeds or souls in general, it's kind of split typically into 3 main things. Earth souls, meaning they always will be on Earth and will never leave. They've just chosen that. a prison planet to them. They know that when they do incarnations, they're only going to do that. So that's like the rules of the game when they chose Earth as their home world. And there's starseeds from any planet other than Earth that happen to be on Earth. And there's something called blueprinters. And a blueprinter isn't a place, it is a job. It's a job description. And it's broken down into 7 different job descriptions under the blueprinter umbrella. And the blueprinters are always starseeds. They're never Earth souls because they helped create Earth or any other planet, really. And they will basically be here to create the Earth, and they're from another planet. So typically, Akashic Record readers were not able to access where the blueprinters were from. It was always, you're a blueprint technician, you're a blueprint originator, but they didn't know where you were from. But for some reason, I've been able to always find out where they're from. And that's how a lot of these new places have been hidden for a long time. It's because they were hidden behind this blueprinter thing. So the Sleehans, when they are here, usually they are blueprinters. That's like a typical thing for them. So these Sleehans usually are blueprint coordinators on Earth or blueprint originators. You're a blueprint originator. And I would call a blueprint originator like a very high level creator of Earth. And so, I mean, there are many of you, but you were a high level. You were like one of the first ones to come in and do your thing. Now, they're very specific roles these blueprinters will do. So yours was, correct me if I'm wrong, was it you were the tides, the magnetic tides or something? Like you were responsible for creating the magnetic poles of the tides or something? Is that what I
Yeah, definitely associated with water, water and the spinning and yeah.
So also when I asked the Sleehans as a side, they said that water magnifies magnetic pull. And so they said that they really like water and they often are involved in currents and tides and on planets because it's just like that's all intertwined in what they do. And they also said salt water tends to be even more stronger than fresh water with the magnification of the magnetic pull. This is what they told me. Yeah. I had to take their word for it. So you live near the ocean, right? And you were doing ocean tides, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Is that what I said? Yeah. So that's what you are. So you're a blueprint originator. So you've been here since the beginning as an originator. And so you're very invested in what's going on with Earth. And that's probably why you care so much. Like, and you know, like it could be so much better because you know what the original blueprint of this planet was supposed to be and what it will be. Yeah. So, you know, you're very invested in that way. So that's how that ties in. And that just ties into really your mission here currently.
Beautiful. And that's just true because I came in and I was like, wait a minute, this is not the Earth that I remember.
Yeah.
Something's wrong here. Everything's kind of backwards. It's like distorted. Yeah. And so my mission has been to restore the balance and return it to its original divine blueprint or the true Earth. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot what I talk about with these dream circles as well. So to have your perspective just really makes it full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they do their creation, all the blueprinters, they're here, and then they kind of pop in to oversee their creation. So you're not necessarily creating it now because you've already created that in past, you know, in the Lemurian times, essentially. But you are holding an energy, being in the Angela body now for what you're doing. And you're also observing and sending information back about what's going on with your part of the creation. And all blueprinters are.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Lemuria. You know, what I understand is Lemurian is a beautiful like restoration. Like we're essentially trying to return Earth back to that design when we were living with harmony with the planet and the cycles and the waters. And we were actually living with star beings and humans all kind of like beautifully cohabitating together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. It was definitely a higher vibe time. So the creation, these are rough estimate of timelines, but time frames, but the creation that I've seen timeline was like about 272,000 to like 250,000 years ago. That was like the creation time of Lemuria, where they're like the big blue people essentially all over the world. And then Lemuria proper, if you will, was like 250,000 to about 27,000 years ago. So it was a very long civilization, and it did overlap significantly with Atlantis for a time.
Hmm.
So you've been here as originator. You definitely were one of the ones that came in very early to do the kind of big picture stuff initially.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you can share about like Lumerian and the waters and like the importance of waters, or any particular star beings that kind of are attached, not attached, but really here to work specifically? Because I just truly believe that the water is, such an important part of this restoration. And
Mm-hmm.
like we just did with the activation and prayer, water remembers. It doesn't, it can be over
Mm-hmm.
multiple dimensions, time, space, realities. It doesn't matter. It remembers and retains our message.
Oh, definitely. There's many, many water worlds and amphibious worlds out there. So even though we enjoy swimming in water, right, but we have dry land, I wouldn't consider us amphibious because we don't really spend that much time in water and we don't breathe underwater. So we're land beings that happen to enjoy water. So I don't consider us amphibious, but there's many, many, many realms out there that live their entire lives in water or most of their lives in water, and oftentimes those will be the ones that will come here and kind of create the oceans or the rivers or the lakes on Earth or other planets, and then kind of maintain them in a way energetically once they're there. So the one that comes to mind, a new group that I had discovered a couple years ago. They were initially very shy about coming forward. They're from a constellation called the Logi Jo constellation. It's one of those constellations that are not on our star maps. We do not know of it. They're called Oceana Ka is the name of their planet, or they told me their name of their planet is. And they are really responsible for the creation of our oceans. And so everything saltwater, oceans, that kind of
They
thing.
did a really good job. My
Yeah, they
goodness.
did. There's some
Our
beautiful
oceans are
oceans.
just incredible. And Earth in general is just impeccable beauty.
Yes, and they're really big on. So some realms are big on creating, coming to other realms and creating, like some species, and some, but some are not. Some are not into that. So they all have their own different flavor and interests. But the Oceanicas, I did a video on them on my YouTube channel. I have pictures of them and stuff, or artist renderings of them. But their world is entirely aquatic. It is the clearest water I've ever experienced. It's so lovely. Um, so they're a really interesting species. And then there's another one called the Pegasians. It's on planet Beta Pegasi in the Pegasus constellation. And they also are big on water, mostly like our rivers and lakes kind of water. And their water is clear, but it's kind of murky and dark and cold on their realm. So it's like a different type of water.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
that's just some of them. But I mean, there's more. I mean, there's the Xenians, which I'll be doing a video about in a week or so. But they are amphibious, and they have amphibious UFOs that they are in. They can fill up with their water and then drain. And their water is different than our water. So our water, we obviously know what our water's like, but their water is different. It's like almost like hand sanitizer.
Like
It's like
gooey.
more viscous.
Yeah.
So it's clear. And when you get out of it, you're dry. It's so weird, but you can swim in it. It's so there are different planets that have like different textures of water.
Interesting. Very cool. Well, in water, in earth, the element itself play into a lot of like, you know, the sacred sites, right? Because as you said, water is, kind of like that mechanism that allows the energy to kind of move.
Mm-hmm.
And, many acoustic temples like the King's Chamber in Giza, or the Pyramid of the Sun and the Moon in Mexico, and so many others. They have different types of crystals like quartz or limestone or andesite, basalt, all working with like a piezoelectric effect,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when we focus an intention or breath or a sound, it's almost like it becomes a quantum geological hard drive, kind of like what you described with the cloud. So
Mm-hmm.
these structures, these sacred sites are all bioelectric activation harmonic chambers that works with our bodies and our bones and our DNA, even our fascia. And they can benefit like cellular rejuvenation, pineal gland activation, and upgrades. So it's wild how everything just is beautifully connected. And a lot of the sacred sites are in alignment with these constellations.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met you, I was meditating on the Cassiopea constellation. And the two kind of places I discovered there, I would love to hear your take on that and what kind of beings live there, what's their purpose.
Sure. You mean the Schedarians and the Ruchbahians?
Okay, wait, I got the photo here. This is
sorry.
your little, and that's what I said. I went to this place and it was just like everything was kind of the same. It's not like here on Earth where we have like a diverse ecosystem.
Yeah.
It was kind of like everything was washed out in this hue of colors. And then I remember something about like metallic discs. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was just like they were like hovering and then it could instantly manifest and then they would
Yes.
like morph into something.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that is Schedar. That's in the W or M, however you look at it, of the Cassiopeia constellation. So it's one of the main features of that constellation. And that's a group that I met pretty early on. And I went there and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I went there via Astro Travel. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like it was very, I was like, I don't even understand what I'm looking at. And so then I kind of, I bounced. I was like, I kind of abandoned it for the time being because I really couldn't understand what I was seeing. And then eventually clients started coming, starseeds from there. So I had to go back and I had to figure it out. I had to, figure this out. And so when I went there, basically that artist rendering is pretty much what I see. And so when I went there, what I would see is like, they're like projections. They're outward projections of their selves. So those discs or silver discs, I see them as spheres, but whatever, the silver part, that's like their consciousness, right? I guess maybe that's their body. And then all these things they're shooting outwards to and projecting can be changed on a whim. And they're always oftentimes together too. It's like they're kind of almost communicating by like shifting their shapes and doing these different shapes with each other. And so that's how they communicate. They can create anything in their world, any kind of background they want. The background that's in that image is their default. It is very colorful. They're a 12th dimensional realm, and Schedar powers universally the third eye chakra. So they hold a very important, like the Slihas, they hold a very important job in our universe. And so all animals, all humans, we all have a third eye chakra, and that powers it universally. Now, these also can change. So Schedar was not always the power generator. Like anything, our universe evolves, slowly. But so it's something they'll hold for a long time in our point of view, but it will change eventually. But at this time, they are powering the third eye chakra. And they really do carry that energy, that psychic energy. And they call it the psychic representation of self. That's what they're all about.
Well, it's almost like pure consciousness too. So it's kind of related to that 12th dimension of just like water, like liquid. You can be anything at any time. And essentially that is water, right? It moves like water. It becomes the container itself.
Yes. It's pretty amazing. They're really neat. They don't look like they would have emotions or like be relatable in any way. And I'm not saying they're super relatable to us, but they do have a lot of emotions and they're very kind and they understand us. So when I first went up there too, a funny story, I saw this. So the projections are like silver outlines. Is that what you noticed? That they were like silver outlines, these projections?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw them as silver outlines. And so I saw this silver outline of a human face smiling at me, and I was like, oh, okay, what's this? This is it was like a little freaky. But that's our way of like, I'm like you. I'm saying hi. I'm, relating to you. Don't be afraid of us. We're just like you, kind of thing.
So they showed like a face with like a smile, like I'm
Yeah,
not
and it was
scary,
smiling.
I'm the
Yeah, it
ghost
was
in a
smiling
weird.
like a human face. It was projecting that because they were first time when I went up there. I think it was the second time I saw the human face because they were just doing their shapes and they were changing their shapes so quickly that I was like, I don't understand this. What are you trying to say to me? What is this? Because this is also pretty early on. I met them, several years ago at this point, so I wasn't as understanding of the different types of life. So a lot of this was very new for me still. So it was very interesting. But they're really, I read for a lot of these star seeds, and these star seeds, when they come to Earth, they are very psychic and third eye forward. Now, they may lose it for a time, their psychic gifts, and they'll pop in and out of their lifetimes. It'll be very frustrating for them. But it's really about exploring those energies in our third dimensional realm at this time. And that's why that's happening. So they get very frustrated and think it's them. I go, no, it's just, it's what's happening. You're here for that. And a lot of times they're sending information back because they're very interested in what we're doing and how their energies kind of relate on our world. So they're very interested in that. So it's a lot of data, kind of boots on the ground, data driven kind of reasons for these star seeds to incarnate here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it. Like the awakening process isn't just like, oh, I'm awakened, right? It's a process.
Yeah.
And we have these gifts that come online and then kind of retreat and come online. So having the psychic realm of our universe, a lot of people don't really know what chakras are. They're energetic systems in our body. And what you're actually bringing to the table here is that our chakras, our energy centers, are in a different realm. So Schedar is essentially not controlling, but they're the activating source of our third eye here on Earth.
I called a generator, a power generator for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in theory, if it were to go offline, perhaps all of us would not, or all life would not be able to have their third eye activated or work, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, many of us are shut down, and that's our connection to universal consciousness, connection to the higher power or our multidimensional self.
Yep. So they're all about that, and they're all about sacred geometry too. They love it, and that's how they speak to each other a lot of times, making these shapes.
Very cool. So you actually were in contact then with another star group in the same Cassiopeian constellation. Yeah. And is this also a chakra realm? Let me pull it up here.
Yes.
How do you pronounce that? The Ruchbahians?
It's Ruchba is the Arabic name for the star. Again, that's also one of the prominent features of the W or M in the Cassiopea constellation. And the beings there are Ruchbahians. That's what they call themselves. And they also were ones that came forward pretty early, although they're a little guarded. They're friendly, very benevolent beings, but they don't like to have all their business out there. It's just kind of interesting. They are what's a non-physical realm, much like Schedar is, meaning, well, we're a physical realm, right? So if you hit a rock, hit my body, it would bounce off. If I threw a rock at a Ruchbahian, it would just kind of go through them and they probably wouldn't even feel it. So also all of Cassiopeia, or the vast majority of the planets in Cassiopeia constellation, and there are many, many planets that make it up, are all, that I've seen so far, non-physical, and that's unique. Something's going on with the Cassiopeia constellation that I haven't fully figured out yet. So I hope to, it all just takes a lot of time to figure all this out. But the Ruchbahians, they're massive. They're probably like 20 feet tall, maybe.
Wow.
And they love nature, and they are androgynous beings. So they have like this perfect balance of the masculine and feminine energies kind of embodied in each and every one of them. They don't have any leadership on their planet, which is pretty unusual. It's like they can self-govern. It's just that fairness, justice, balance is just really something that's kind of ingrained in their society and their very being. And Ruchba is also the power generator for the solar plexus chakra, which has that balance energies, right? And justice, fairness, and kind of leadership too, right? So they really embody that.
Wow. So Cassiopeia constellation houses two of our chakra systems. That's kind of rare. Is it usually like one system?
Yeah, I mean, it again, they do change, right? They kind of, our universe is always evolving, right? So, like for instance, let's talk about the heart chakra for a second. The heart chakra is being powered right now by a planet in the Cephus constellation called Alderman, another group I know very well, and they're really big in realm creation too. And they are kind of passing the bar to Hadar to be the new power generator for our heart chakras. So it does evolve and change over time. So it's, to answer your question, it could move around. It kind of just depends on the energies the planet naturally possesses. You know, are they a match for that chakra, and can they do the job?
Wow.
So, but yeah, I mean, I guess it would be, you know, not terribly typical to have two in the same constellation.
Very cool.
But Cassiopeia, I know, is very, very important, and I don't fully understand it yet. It's a lot of very unique life up there,
Yeah.
very unique, and it means something. I just haven't been able to kind of put all the pieces together. This takes a long time and a lot of research and a lot of reading for and meeting these beings and interacting with them, and then reading for the star seeds and clients that come from these places. It's a tremendous amount of research involved.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, and I'm just so excited to hear you say that because, you know, I am taking a group to this particular structure here
Awesome.
later in the year called Gadung Padang. And this particular sacred site, most people don't even know it exists. And it actually predates Giza by like 20,000 years or so of what we know so far. And this particular structure is in alignment with the Cassiopeia constellation. So knowing that it's our solar plexus and our third eye, you know, we're going to go and we're going to reactivate this pyramid, and I'm really excited to see what happens.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And how you hike up there? How steep is that that walk?
It's a little bit of a hike, but you can get through it from kind of the top part. So down below is where like all the water would have been. This is kind of like a re-depiction of the site itself. It looks very different now. It's kind of like hidden in plain sight, you know, because it's covered in like basalt, you know, which is essentially kind of like tuning forks. So this pyramid, like many on our planet, are, you know, echo-collation chambers, essentially. When you hit a certain tone, it allows your body to vibrate and become the truth of what it was, essentially realigning to the 12th dimensional blueprint of the true human.
Wow. Yeah. And the Ruchbahians also are 12th dimensional. So there you go.
Yes. Beautiful. So I do have some questions here in the chat.
Sure.
Thank you, Scott, for your beautiful questions. How would you recommend a soul to get started in understanding and accessing the records?
Okay. Wow. Okay. So it's not understanding them. I'll never fully understand them. Scott, I mean, it's kind of never, it's mind blowing. Yeah. It's vast and it's mind blowing. To access them, I would just try to do a meditation and talk to your guides and see if they will help you get access to them. But just having access to them isn't enough. You then have to understand what you're looking at. And that does take some teaching, some mentorship, because it's not easy to do. And also you need to have usually a dedicated guide that will read the record for you and give you the information. Just if you're interested, when there actually are, I see them as actual books, soul books with the individual's name on it. And then when I open the book, it's actually written in some sort of script that I do not, it almost looks handwritten, like in almost dark brown ink. And I see the writing, but I can't read it because it's in some sort of light language writing, I guess. And so I need it to be translated for me.
Very cool.
I hope that answers your question somewhat, Scott.
Yeah. He had a follow-up, like who or what assigns the responsibility of the records? Like when you talk about it being a library, essentially.
Okay. Of the records or of the different planetary? It's records?
I think, yeah, the records.
Okay. Well, the records have been around. So the Akashic record, so we are of one universe, but there are many different universes, and souls from other universes will come and incarnate and have lifetimes on planets in our universe, and vice versa. But I can access the records of a soul that's from another planet. So gosh, it's like this, it kind of houses all the universal souls of all the different universes. So who assigns that? That's a great question. I've never gotten clarity on that, but the records have been there since the very beginning of time, right? Because they've been gathering all this information on all the souls since the very beginning, the first universe. So I'm assuming it was Source, but I honestly have not had a good answer or a satisfying answer from my perspective on who started it.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
it is accessible, and it's a busy place, and it's a really busy place, the Akashic Record Library. Even though it's a huge place, it's very busy.
Yeah, thinking about just Google, comparing it to something we have here, it's like you can type into something like Google or even AI now, and it's like the vastness that comes with the realm
and
itself.
That's nothing. It's like a trillion times more. Yeah.
Another question from Mary: can you tap into the records via dreams?
Sure. Some people are so we all have different ways of accessing our gifts, right? So some people are good dreamers. I'm not a good dreamer, but some people, dreaming is great because it's like you're a captive audience in the astral realm. And so potentially you could tap into the Akashic records when you're dreaming or asleep, because especially if you're like oriented to receiving information that way. So if you'd like to, I probably would just say before you go to bed, ask your spirit guides. I would set the intention I would like to visit the Akashic records or get some information or explore them in my dream state and see what happens.
Yeah, the
It may
power of
take a few
intention.
nights. Yeah, it's what you need to do and see what happens. It may take a few nights for you to set that intention. It may not happen that night. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Just keep at it.
Beautiful. Yeah, because you will be connected when your time is right.
Mm-hmm.
And just as you were connected with the Akashic at your time.
Yeah, it's all that divine timing thing, which we find very annoying here on Earth, but
Right.
it is what it is.
Well, that's one of the distortions. Time is not linear, it's a spiral.
Yeah.
Just like everything else. So we come and then it's like, whoa, so it comes and it goes. And just stay in
Exactly.
that sphere. Awesome. So have you seen knowing more of your past from the library? How might that help you in this life?
Oh, yeah. Personally, I mean, for me, it's been, it was a pretty amazing thing because I always felt very depressed being here. And I mean, I lived, I have a middle-class lifetime. It wasn't perfect, but life certainly wasn't bad. I knew that I had it pretty good compared to a lot of other individuals living on Earth. So I felt really guilty about being so upset about being here for whatever reason, not knowing that I had other lives and I'm from another planet and I didn't know any of that. So and I was like, I struggled with depression a lot when I was younger and just going like, what is this place? And I hated the school system. Like I just felt it was, and I'm like, why do I have such a negative feeling about all these institutions here? And that understanding that put it all into perspective for me. Being that I'm Arcturians generally do not enjoy being on Earth at all, and really are very critical of our institutions, and really find Earth to be most unpleasant, and they just come here to help out. But also, I think too, another thing is, you're also wondering like, why are certain patterns consistently coming up in this lifetime? And it's so frustrating. Like I'm trying to do something and he's hit a brick wall. Knowing what we're here to learn specifically in this lifetime is so helpful, among other things.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that. And I know so many people also struggle with depression, like I was the same way. I was like, I just knew that something was off, right? And everything was inverted essentially, or distorted. And so the institutions were the control. It's the disempowerment of what we truly are, trying to keep our gifts kind of contained.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Keep us fixated on just what's in front of us. and not the bigger
right? The
picture.
hustle of money and the hustle of everything else, when that's just, all a lie, essentially an illusion.
Well,
So
I actually see a question from Love Flows Clearly
yeah,
about money is a star seed.
yeah,
So so most planets, other planets that I've met thus far, don't use money. Many have never used it or any kind of currency. It's like it's either energy or it's love or it's just they just manifest it. It's like no, it's like a foreign concept. So some starseed groups are very fixated on the concept of money and they hate it, but they come here like, what the heck is this? And so some will be their lives will be very enmeshed and involved on Earth with money. Um, so that's if you could be from one of those places, or you could be having a life lesson surrounding that money for whatever reason. But your soul did choose that and to do whatever you got to do to learn prosperity, money, that kind of thing. But money is just a tangible way to farm our energy. So it's actually just energy, but they've like put a dollar amount or a paper or, a piece of gold to it. And that way, they can tax it, they can take it, they can control us that way.
exactly. Well, and that's why I always say, focus on your passion, because the money comes as a consequence of when you put your heart into what you're doing.
Yeah.
We are divinely guided and nourished in that way. But if we're aligning with the money, we're grabbing the wrong end of the stick.
Yeah, it's true. Tis true.
So have you seen, knowing about, or wait, here we go. Here's another question. Have you ever questioned yourself when you first tapped into this gift? Was there
Oh,
doubts or worries there?
absolutely. I mean, I come from
I
a
can
science
imagine.
background.
Like, what is happening? Where am I going? What is this?
and I knew, I mean, I already knew because I've been psychic my whole life. I just kind of ignored it and didn't really tap into it, but I had seen things. So I knew something was on the other side of the veil. I understood that. I didn't really understand it. But certainly when I really opened myself or allowed myself, I'm still seeing really weird stuff. And the Sleehans are one of that. But I think the beauty of the fact that I do Akashic record readings for clients, and so when I see this weird stuff, I'm able to test that information on people, other individuals, and then they go, yes, that makes sense, or oh, I've seen that before, I didn't know what that was, or that that speaks to me. That helps me go, okay, I'm on the right track here. But absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and you being an Arcturian, right? That's very scientific, and just the whole
Mm-hmm.
science aspect of it is so limiting, right? I
Yeah.
always say magic is so far advanced. Science is only catching up to what our
Yeah.
consciousness is able to understand. And the fact that you're meeting these beings that literally are not in our collective consciousness yet, like
Yep.
we aren't able to actually understand or perceive it yet. And that's why I was so excited to have you on, just to kind of expand the mind, expand the possibilities.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and it's one that's not slowing at all apparently. So, but I'm happy to be able to share, what I found and the information. And I always try to get artist drawings so people can see what I'm seeing or show people what I'm seeing, so they can kind of visualize the beings themselves.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's getting really late there. We could probably have you on forever talking about this. I know you mentioned a little bit about maybe dispelling some of the myths around the reptilians being negative. Would you like to
Hmm.
just share a little bit on that?
Sure. Well, I've met, like I said, many, many beings, and we all hear the reptilian, the myth of the reptilians. All reptilians are bad, and look, yes, there are negative species that are reptilian for sure. There are negative species that look like us. There are negative species that are non-physical. So negative species or races exist in all shapes and sizes and packages. But there are several, at least 4 reptilian races I've met thus far who are very benevolent, always been benevolent, and some have been a part of creating our world. Some are actually on our world underground, and they're very benevolent. So I think people hear a lizard or reptilian and they like recoil in horror. And again, not saying that they're all good, but there are several that are indeed quite benevolent, and I think they have been a little bit hesitant to come forward because they know what those who are open to the stuff think about them. So they've been very hesitant to come forward because I don't want people hating them for no reason. And I
Yeah.
do feature some of them on my my YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, well, it just shows too that we have to really tune in and trust our intuition, because
Mm-hmm.
your your intuitive knowing will guide you into either benevolent, good versus bad.
Yeah.
And trusting that deep knowing as we continue to navigate this new world, this kind of topic, and this can feel out there to many who are just kind of tipping their toes into this pool, but it's going to pick up fairly quick, and special gifts and our psychic abilities are going to be coming back more online, and
Mm-hmm.
it's exciting times.
Yeah. It's difficult but exciting, and we all chose to be here at this time. We only have ourselves to blame for it. So.
Well, and that's so important. You said that several times, is we chose this. And, I always tell my clients or anyone, you have to take
Mm-hmm.
accountability of your choices. So waking up to more of the truth of who you are, or tapping into your records, can help you become more accepting of that path and your
Mm-hmm.
soul contracts and the choices you did make, but then you forgot, right? Because of
Yeah.
the veil of
It's all
forgetfulness.
part of the
But
game. Mm-hmm.
exactly, the game that we're now remembering. So if you get those impulses and you feel something is real, trust yourself,
Yeah.
right? Your mind will take it and go, but whatever feels resonant in your body is the truth of your soul. And I
Mm-hmm.
say, follow that and trust that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Do you have
Absolutely.
any final things or questions or things you would love to share? I know it's getting late on your end over
Yeah.
there. I'm going to stay online. We have another beautiful grid guided meditation. So, audience, please stick around for that. But
Okay.
any final thoughts?
Um, wow. Well, I just scratched the surface. I mean, there's so much. I could sit here and talk for 8 hours, or more. Um, I'd love to come back again at some point and maybe talk about some other things, or, other
Definitely.
things I've learned. It's just like I can't condense it all into one, but I do have a YouTube channel where I actually make these kind of long form videos about each group that I feature for a
And I
week, and
did
then
I
I kind
did
of talk
put
about
all
that.
your
Yeah.
information in the chat box. So
Oh, okay.
feel
So
free
yeah, if
to
you're
reach
interested in
out
that
to
kind of stuff, you
Erin.
can check it out.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I can't think of anything right now.
Awesome. Well, and that being said, audience, make sure you check out Erin's YouTube page. It is there in the link. And if you're interested in getting a reading with her, her contact information is also in there. And yeah, I would love, at different points as we start to awaken more fully, have you back on again for sure, because I just, in my own personal world, I really appreciate you. I had been looking for an Akashic Records reader for years, and it just didn't feel right. And then as
Hmm.
soon as I made that connection and found you, I was like, I pulled the trigger and I was like, this is it. And to
Well,
be
I don't
honest,
think I don't think anyone else could have read for you accurately. They would have said you were a blueprint originator.
yeah,
So that's good that that you trusted yourself. So that's basically how clients find me. They just get drawn to me by their spirit guides because for whatever reason they need my services.
yeah. Well, and you helped, there was a blind spot that really helped me fully transmute some energies in my ancestral lineage on my mother's side. So
Hmm.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and that time we had
Oh,
then and the
good.
time we're having here now. I send you so much love, and keep
Oh, thank you.
shining your brilliance, and, pushing those boundaries of what people are freaked out a little bit about right now. But, I love that you're really expanding the collective mind and going there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's been a wild ride, and it's my pleasure to help people in this way. It really is.
Oh, thank you so much again. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. I'm going to
Thank
let
you.
Erin go because it's probably past her bedtime there on the other side of the
It is.
country. But go ahead and stick around, Soul Fam. We've got a little bit more to talk about. If you're wanting to, I'll be here. But Erin, thank you again for your time and energy. I really
All right.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Angela. I appreciate it. And bye. Thank you.
Aloha. All right, Soul Family. I'd love to hear your comments on anything about that. And, did anything come through for you? Are you interested in getting a reading? It's really exciting. And we'll take a few minutes and we'll get into our next little adventure here. I have a beautiful guided meditation. But I do want to just reiterate that if you are interested in getting a reading with Erin, be sure to check out the links. And also the angelic armor is there, and there's a code to get a percentage off. And then I'm also launching my retreat. So all the information on the retreat, and I don't want you to be intimidated by, the retreat itself, because it's very intuitive. Grid work itself, many of us here in this current time cycle are grid workers. And I often describe that as like the acupuncture needle of the planet. So if you've ever been drawn to like a place or even a particular tree or a rock, like growing up, I was like, I have to go there to that exact branch. And then I just sit there and I don't really know what's happening, but it all happens automatically. We're sending and we're receiving signals and activating our heart and activating the earth grid. So joining us in Bali for Quantum Connections is a multi-dimensional retreat designed to awaken your soul, expand your heart, and realign your body with the earth's natural rhythms. It's a mission of magic, mystery, and miracles. And I have beautiful practices like Qigong, yoga, sound healing, breath work, mindful movement, all being immersed in the lush magic of Bali. And I believe that we learn best when we're, playing and laughing and exploring. So this particular mission, I was called, and I'm calling in my team, and I trust the right people will be guided to join me in this mission. And we're going to reinvite the lost wisdom of Lemuria and activate the seventh ray consciousness of the Rainbow Bridge, essentially rekindling the link between Earth, the stars, and our body and spirit. And yes, so, all right, let's go ahead and jump into a final meditation here. I just invite you to go ahead and sit in a comfortable position, palms up. Close your eyes if that feels good for you. Come home to your heart. Begin to connect with your breath, feeling the fullness of each inhale and each exhale. Now feel the earth beneath you, her steady pulse, her stability, her ancient rhythm. And as you inhale, see in your mind's eye a light beginning to form. It's soft, it's radiant, it's crystalline. You are drawn to this light. Now seeing this light gather into your palms as a glowing liquid crystal orb, born of your soul's essence, Gaia's breath, and starlight. Now holding this gently in your hands, feel and see how it shimmers alive with spiraling galaxies, sacred codes, and fractal memory. This orb carries the prayers of humanity, the love of our ancestors, and the hope of the future. Take a deep breath in and lift this beautiful orb to the sky, giving it back to the cosmos, the energies, offering it freely to the universe. Feel the awe, the surrender, the devotion. The cosmos receives your offering, and in return, a single sacred tear forms, not from sorrow, but from overwhelming love. This is the tear of the Divine Mother, a shimmering droplet of remembrance and frequency of unity. Now watch now as this drop begins to descend from the cosmos, following gracefully, spiraling down from the heavens. It moves slowly, passing the stars, the atmosphere, the clouds, until it reaches the heart of Earth's grid. The moment it touches, a ripple of light surges outward, moves across the ley lines, activating the sacred sites, reawakening the crystalline temple beneath the soil, touching ancient soul memory and vibrating the codes of pure love. The earth sings, and you, beautiful soul, you feel it within your own body. Your bones echo the harmonics. Your heart pulses in resonance. You are the living grid point, a conduit of remembrance. Breathe in the vibration. Feel yourself woven into the fabric of Gaia's crystalline light web, not separate, but whole, together, remembering. Now just pause here and let the silence hold the activation. Being here now with your breath as you feel yourself connected to all things. Yes. And when you are ready, gently return. Wiggle your fingers, touch your feet to the earth, and carry this sacred ripple with you. And so it is. Yes. How do you feel, everyone? Please feel free to engage in the chat with any last comments and questions. I'm here. And I'm really, really excited. Now, if you're curious at all about this mission to Bali and West Java, please visit the link to get more information. There are a few questions for you to answer, and I'm also happy to answer any questions you may have, so reach out. I'm excited, soul family, for you to join me on this mission. The time is now. Let us unite and do some powerful energetic work together. Connecting the grids, visiting this epic pyramid that not too many people know about. And so if you're interested in that sort of thing, let's do it, y'all. Let's do it, fam. All right. Now, if none of you or many of you, have you ever been to the Great Pyramid of Giza? It looks tiny in this photo, but to give you a better perspective on its vast size, boom, right? You can see me down in the corner there. It is huge. Now, Giza is really known for being huge, right? And Gadung Padang, this pyramid may seem smaller on the surface, but beneath it lies an ancient multi-dimensional earth temple. So all of these under cavities here, if you can see that, those are inner chambers, part of a multi-tiered energy system. And it's designed to interact with the Earth's frequencies, water memory, and cosmic alignments. And delighted to hear the cosmic alignments of the Cassiopea constellation and being literally the ruler or generator of our third eye and our solar plexus. So this is powerful divine will. And yes, I love you all so much. Thank you for always being a part of this experience with me. And I am just beyond. We could have had Erin here for hours. Like, you know, the infinite amounts and expanse of vastness. Your mind, right? All right, soul family. Any other final thoughts, comments, questions before we end our time together today? I love you all. All right. Beautiful. All right. I don't see any more questions coming in. So thank you again for your time and your presence here with me now. And feel free to please share, you know, as a tribe, you know, we have to help each other in this awakening journey. And it's not easy, and you're not here. We do not have to do it alone. So your presence and support mean everything. So share this so we can amplify the signal across the collective grid and help others awaken to their role. You never know what will trigger something, you know, as we plant these seeds. So every piece of the puzzle starts to align and create. And just as she did with my own records, it was like that final validation that I needed to just have full clarity and trust, right? Because I think a lot of times we get an idea or we feel something and it's like, what the hell was that? Excuse my words. But everything I've ever thought or felt, she validated. And like I said, I didn't tell anyone some of the things that she was able to tell me. So just beautiful and so helpful in my own personal journey. Beautiful. Love flows clearly. Your time in Lemuria. Yes. We are definitely restoring that timeline. And the pyramid of Gadung Padang is a really important role. When I've been doing my astral traveling there and I sat in the meditation with it, it's essentially like, you know, we're going to be connecting in the different dimensions of that. And Bali has 6 ley line points. It's more than any other land mass on this planet. So it's highly energetic. And we're going to be connecting the temples of Uluru, which are in Australia, and then Lake Titicaca, which is in Peru, and then the Hawaiian Lemurian essence. And yeah, this sacred site houses massive amounts of energetic potential, just waiting to be reignited. And I am just lit up by this. These activations will offer a deep unveiling of our divine power and how we are quantumly entangled with the entire universe. So again, feel free to reach out. There are limited number of spaces, but I trust that the right people are going to join me in this epic magic adventure. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your presence. And I look forward to more. Oh, thank you, Jose. I appreciate you. Sending lots of love, soul family. And from my heart into yours. I love you. I never want to leave these streams because of the energy we create together. I just feel giddy. Like little sparkles dancing all over my skin and body, and the breath just comes through. Oh, wow. So you're remembering quite a bit about that. Beautiful. And remember that all that conflict is essentially you working it out, facing yourself, right? And so continue to look into that divine mirror and take full accountability of what you're feeling. Take full accountability of your energy. And y'all, this month is going to be wild. Okay, we have 6 planets shifting signs. So there's going to be some rapid change and rapid movement. So remember the 369 principle and allow yourself to ground and tune in to the stillness 3 times a day at least, if not more. The more presence you offer yourself, the more in tune you are with your soul and with your higher self. In the now channel is where the connection happens. So if you're stuck in your head with all this Gemini energy, remember, that's just a part of it. Allow that energy to release and tune back into your body. Feel the resonance of the breath. And don't be afraid to make weird sounds like we did, because it all resonates. And when we actually exhale on a sound, if you notice, you can't think. Your mind will be still. So it's such a beautiful gift, and it's such a beautiful break from all of that mental chatter. Yeah? So honor your energy fully and give yourself those moments. Even if you have 50 million things to do, right? Because that's what it's going to feel like this month. Just over here, over there, over there. So give yourself those moments, because in those moments is where the magic fully is, and where you can return to yourself, the truth of who you are. I love you. Thank you. Aloha, beautiful beings. Until I see you again.